from Lookout Mountain. We arrived last night in the late afternoon and we have just been enjoying it ever since. It feels like we're in the clouds right now. We're staying in this really cute tiny house Airbnb right on the mountain. We're only staying here for one night and then we're staying in a different Airbnb for the next 2 nights. But before I go any further, I want to show you a tour of this place because it is so adorable. And then I just want to share what we did last night once we arrived. So here's a full look at our little Airbnb. It's so adorable. It's called Little Haven, and it really truly was just that. I love the design of it. It was just really well thought out, and the location was just amazing. It was in Lookout Mountain, Georgia. So we actually spent some time in Georgia and then Tennessee because Lookout Mountain is kind of on the border of both. So when you come into the Airbnb, you have this cute little porch, and then you have the kitchen right away, and it's 2 stories. And I will say it is considered a tiny house, so it is a bit small, but we didn't feel cramped or anything. So it was clear they were intentional with the design, and just out of everything, you pretty much had a full-size kitchen. So if you were staying for longer, you could cook there, keep stuff in the fridge, all that good stuff. And then upstairs you have the bed, which you kind of feel like you're in a tree house. And both of the days, well, we only stayed here one night and it was pretty much cloudy the whole time. So you couldn't really see the skyline of the mountains, but on a clear day, it's a whole beautiful mountain range. So just keep that in mind. But we really loved our stay, and it also is amazing that it was dog friendly. In our first night, once we arrived and checked into our Airbnb, we set off to a place called Sunset Rock, which is also on Lookout Mountain, and this was such a good find. Anyone can visit it. It's free admission. It's just a little overlook and hiking area. I will say there aren't many parking spots though, so you may have to kind of try a few times. Thankfully, someone was leaving right as we pulled up, so it worked out perfectly. Serendipity. But yeah, since it was really foggy, you couldn't really see much of the view, but it was really neat to kind of feel like you were amidst the clouds, and it was just a really unique atmosphere that we're just not used to back home. So we were soaking it up, and as we were there, we were probably only there for 30-45 minutes. The clouds did start to clear a bit, so we could start seeing some of the city and the mountains. So that was really neat to kind of see the atmosphere change and get a little different perspective.
Oh, my love, you're such a fragile thing, I know. And with the winter comes the ice, the snow, but I'm here to hold.
Once we were finished at Sunset Rock, we grabbed some dinner. There's this really cute place called Cafe on the Corner, which is literally on the corner of this road in Lookout Mountain, and it was fabulous. Unfortunately, they had their patio closed due to the rainy, kind of foggy, cold weather. So we just placed a to-go order, but it was lovely. They had this fire pit on so we could sit here while we waited for our to-go order. And dinner was really yummy. We had a salmon and hummus and goat cheese, pimento cheese, which was our favorite. We also got a chocolate lava cake for dessert, which was so scrumptious.
Don't worry about the cold just yet. The trees haven't started to shed. Just feel the summer sun as it warms our bed. I'm lying, and I'm lying when I say.
The next morning, we packed up because we only had availability at this Airbnb for one night, and then we headed off to breakfast. We stopped at this place called the Canopy, which is actually right next to Cafe on the Corner, so it's on the main street, just a couple doors down. And we found out this place actually just opened, so it was perfect timing for our trip, and we got some delicious coffee, a yummy cheese croissant with some mango spicy salsa. It was very unique and very delicious.
The seasons come and they go, but I hope you know that I won't.
If you do plan to visit, I suggest checking to make sure there's availability, because at the time we visited, we needed to reserve a parking pass. So just make sure you look into that beforehand. But this is such a great activity. We really could have spent all day here if we packed a picnic and had the time. But since it was a short trip, we just spent a few hours here and we hiked to the beautiful waterfall, which was just so awe-inspiring and unique for us to see. I would say it was a pretty moderate hike, and there's plenty of benches that you can kind of take a rest at, have a snack. But we were happy to kind of go quickly on our hike and get our blood pumping because we were quite chilly and craving that sunshine. So we kept moving and grooving throughout our hike.
Tell me if you knew.
We made it to the bottom of the waterfall! Yay! Once we left, it was around 1 or 2 p.m. Oh, and on our way, we found this dog in the middle of the street, and we were trying to figure out where his home was, and we followed him down a little alleyway, and there were like 2 or 3 other dogs without a leash or anything, so we just figured it was normal. He seemed like he was very content with his freedom, so thankfully, he seemed fine. And then we headed to lunch because we were quite hungry after our hike. And we found this place called State of Confusion, which was delectable. The thing that sold me on the menu was the savory monkey bread, and it did not disappoint. It was absolutely delicious. And then we had Peruvian homemade guac and Peruvian lettuce wraps. It was just an absolutely fabulous meal. And since we were kind of in a time crunch, I just ordered it to go, but then we ended up eating at the restaurant while it was fresh and hot. After lunch, we went over to check into our second Airbnb, which was called La Cabana, and it was a little hike to get to it, which we didn't mind, but that is something to know. It definitely isn't the most accessible Airbnb, but it was very nice, very clean. I think we would have actually preferred something a bit closer to downtown Chattanooga, just with like the rest of our itinerary. It would have made more sense, but it was nice. We got some great night's sleep there and felt nice and cozy. And again, so thankful it was dog friendly. And then once we settled into our Airbnb a bit and got Palmer settled, we went to the Incline Railway, which is close to downtown Chattanooga. And this is just a Lookout Mountain staple. We actually missed our initial train ride up the mountain, so we just waited for the next one and got some ice cream at Clumpy's, which is very delicious and another iconic spot. It was fun. I'm definitely glad we did it. It wasn't anything like, oh wow, that was incredible, but it was definitely unique and the views were really, really beautiful. So I would say, check it out if you have time. It only took about an hour, so it doesn't eat up too much time. And then after our little train ride, we grabbed some coffee at Rembrandt's Coffee, which is in the Bluff View Art District, which is just such a gorgeous area of Chattanooga. So we were able to sit outside, sip on our coffee, and we put our name in at this restaurant called Tony's Pasta, which is a pretty well-known restaurant in the Chattanooga area. It's pretty iconic, and the wait time definitely proved that. I mean, we waited about an hour, I want to say, before we sat down, and there were people who were waiting even longer than us. So if that tells you something, it's definitely highly coveted, and it was super delicious. You can definitely taste that the pasta was made fresh, and they give you this gorgeous garlicky loaf of bread and oil, and we had yummy salad, and we had a pretty table looking out at the water. So it really was a fabulous experience. We just got back to our Airbnb after a full day of adventures. It's only about 8 o'clock, but we're ready to get cozy, get changed, and ready for bed. We just gave Palmer his dinner. He's happy here. He's having such a fun trip, and so are we, so we're really thankful. Dinner was delicious, and tomorrow it's actually good we're home early because we're waking up extra early for the sunrise at this place called Snooper's Rock. So we have to do a little more research, figure out parking and if we hike there, all the details, but we'll see you guys in the morning. Good morning. We are up bright and early, except it's not even bright outside. It's still pitch black outside, but we are headed to Snooper's Rock, which is, from what we understand, a really cool viewpoint and a little hike, but you can just see a lot of pretty sights. So that's where we're off to. It's about 25 minutes away from where we are now, so hopefully we'll catch the sunrise and we'll show you what's going on there. Excited, Palmer? Okay, so we arrived at the preserve where Snooper's Rock is, and it's closed for hunting. So apparently there's some big game hunting this weekend, so we can't go. I'm so bummed. We're trying to find like another overlook or hike nearby that we can go to, but it's such a bummer. I was really excited to see this, but it's a good tip. We learned the hard way, so if you come to visit, definitely check beforehand if it's closed for hunting or if it's open to anyone, because yeah, we learned the hard way this morning, but we'll see what else we can find. If it wasn't closed, we would have never seen this sweetness.
Like you and me.
How cute.
I've said it many times, I know I would change my ways, I know for sure. When all the crows decide to meet, they settle down beneath my feet. I've got it right and I got it wrong, but I learned my lesson hanging on.
We made it to an absolutely gorgeous destination. Definitely worth the little hassle and hike. It is absolutely beautiful.
So be here as the night starts falling. Let my fingers walk over your head. We got nothing to be scared of. I'd rather be with you than by myself. Now all is in your hands.
Dropped Palmer off at the Airbnb, and now we are headed to breakfast. We are ready for it. It's 10 a.m. now, so looking forward to a nice meal and cuddling up with some coffee in a cozy breakfast place. So looking forward to that, and then we'll probably just explore Chattanooga after that, and then we're going to Ruby Falls this afternoon. So fun rest of the day planned. We just need some fuel to give us some energy for it.
The only thing that was for me, and I saw the angels coming down, and they sang a song and sang it loud, and I still remember parts of it, and the yellow glorious will live. Won't you be my
breakfast, we drove around for a bit and parked near the Walnut Bridge, which is the world's longest pedestrian bridge. And it was really exciting because there was actually a rowing competition going on the weekend that we were visiting. So there was a lot of excitement and hustle and bustle and families cheering on their loved ones as they competed in the race. And it was really special because we actually ran into a family that I babysat in high school for years and years, and they're just a really sweet and dear family to me. So that was just a beautiful moment, and it was just such a gorgeous day. So spending time outside with the fresh air was just immensely pleasant. We also grabbed some coffee from Sleepyhead, and then we walked over to Warehouse Row, which has a few shops in it as well. We actually grabbed some more coffee from Goodman's Coffee. Since this was a shorter trip, I still wanted to try as many coffee shops as possible. So we grabbed a latte from there and then strolled around Anthropology for a little, which is just always a treat. Then it was time for our Ruby Falls visit. So this is another one of those just iconic must-dos in the Chattanooga area. It's a very unique experience. So it's a series of underground cascading waterfalls totaling 145 feet in Lookout Mountain. So you are just in this mountain, and it is just... it's hard to explain, but hopefully these videos are kind of giving you a sense and idea. And it is very, very popular and has a lot of rich history. So I loved learning about that. And again, it was a great experience. I will say though, it is quite popular. So we did go on a Saturday in the afternoon, so maybe we went during the busiest time, but there was a lot of kind of waiting around because there is only one elevator to get up and down into the falls area, and you walk a mile into the falls and then walk a mile out. So we did need to wait a while just for other groups and people to kind of pass through, so just kind of keep that in mind if you do plan to visit. But again, very unique and fun experience. After Ruby Falls, we went to dinner at this restaurant called 1885, and wow, this was amazing. And then after dinner, we grabbed some hot cocoa from the hot chocolatier, and we also grabbed a box of chocolates, which was delectable. What a full day. We just got back to our little cabin and we are ready to just get all clean and snuggle up in bed. We stopped to get some hot chocolate after dinner and it is so good. We got peppermint hot chocolate and then we got some of these little chocolate truffles and just a mix of different things. I'm trying to remember which ones we got. I know one was a dark chocolate bourbon, and then one was a hazelnut, and then another one was, it's called Shot in the Dark, which is just, I believe, espresso and dark chocolate. And then the last one, I think it was called the Chattanooga or something like that, and it had Chattanooga whiskey in it and chocolate, so that'll be a treat. I need a little bit longer before I eat that because I'm still so full from dinner, but we definitely have been eating good this trip. Pretty much, no, actually every single restaurant we went to was so delicious, and we, on the way home tonight, we were saying what was our favorite and like doing a ranking, but it was really close with all of them because they were all just so super scrumptious. But it's good that we're home early. Well, it's about 8 o'clock now, or 7:15, but it's good that we have like some time to rest and get ready for bed because we're gonna wake up early tomorrow for our last morning. We're driving home tomorrow, but before that, we're gonna go to Rock City, which is a Chattanooga Lookout Mountain classic. So excited for that adventure. See you in the morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
So good morning, Palmer. It is our last morning. We just arrived at Rock City. It is a gorgeous day. I love that Rock City opens really early. It's currently 8:15. They open at 8:30, so we're gonna be like the first people there. But it's great because if you're on your way out, you know, back home on your road trip, you can kind of squeeze this in beforehand, get some exercise, look around, and then hunker down for the rest of your road trip. So we're excited to explore it, and then we're also excited to get back home. Even though we've had such an amazing trip, there really is no place like home. So cheers to that. Rock City truly was such a treat. I loved that we went so early in the morning because it just had this peaceful and zen and just warm atmosphere. And I was talking to some of the workers at Rock City, and they were saying that the morning is definitely a fabulous time to come because it gets nice and busy later in the day. Overpass, here we come. Whoa, spooky. And I was a little bit confused what Rock City even is. So essentially you stroll through an enchanted trail. There's little gnomes and fairies and just all these little fantasy-like creatures. But the best part, in my opinion, is just the views of Chattanooga and of the mountains, especially in the autumn season where the foliage is just so vibrant and colorful. It was definitely a beautiful experience. Rock City was so much fun. Seriously, such a beautiful place with beautiful views. It took us about an hour and a half to get through the whole thing, and I'm so glad we went right when they opened because we virtually had the whole place to ourselves, which was really nice and peaceful. So it was a fun way to end our trip, but thank you guys so much for following along on this road trip adventure. I really hope you all enjoyed it and cannot wait to see you soon. Bye!
Bye!
Say bye, sleepy puppy!
The seasons come and they go, but I hope